some hearts, you can throw some normal hearts around. Thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's like a long read. Your name is very familiar. You were subbed in the past, right? I'm almost certain you were subbed in the past. Like, almost 100% sure, you know? Unless someone just had a name very similar to yours, but I really don't think they did. Maybe. People going around stealing people's names on Twitch, how dare they? How dare they? Banes of the world. Top left side of the map. There's going to be the Blue Terran player from True Esports. Give it up if you're going to be cheering on souL. Bottom right hand side, the red Protoss player, it is going to be DnS. Hey, by the way, a little bit of a delayed thank you, but Maralekos, who was also casting the Go4SC2, finished up his half of the bracket and so did host a sub after his stream, so thank you very much. I appreciate I didn't get a chance to say it. It kind of came in for an awkward moment of the game, and I forgot to mention it before we went into break. So thank you for that, dude. Hello, anyone who did tune in for Maralekos' stream. I appreciate the tuning in. Appreciate you guys checking us out. As we set up into this best of 3, and just have a look to see where things are going to be going over the next few moments. DnS comes down to the low ground. He's just scouting, so I mean, not really going to build anything on the low ground. He just wants to check what's up, and it is a fairly standard Reaper expansion so far out of souL. Going to throw down the factory pretty soon afterwards as well, so factory coming down next. Very standard TVP, considering that on the other side of the map it is. No, gate Nexus core. Nothing too crazy about that either. Believe it or not, this is just the way most players tend to play in the Terran versus Protoss matchup in the early stages. Alright, cool. That's nice. Just a few moments to kind of think about things, see how things will develop. DnS obviously just came out of that best of 3 TVP, and I mean, honestly, I feel as though, I don't know what it was, because I felt as though DNS's early game and kind of early mid game went very successfully, multiple times. But then he really struggled as the game sort of continued a little bit. Like, as the game went by, it sort of felt as though he was maybe just taking a little while to get things going again, and bits and pieces, and I don't know, like, he struggled to kind of close out the games, and, you know, he was a lot closer in most of the games, and, you know, in fact, if I would say that, you know, one game he had a lead, he lost it, the other game he had a lead, he did close it out, but the third game, he had a lead, and then he sort of lost it, and it was a sort of a bit of a mess all over the place. As Reaper does come in, by the way, picks off a probe on the natural expansion. That engineering bay is starting to build up here, by the way, and is just going to be cancelled right now. So the engineering bay is, you might think, well, what's the point of it? But it's actually really just to kind of keep track of the mothership core. Keep track of the mothership core, keep track of the first adept, and just know whether you're going to have to deal with that kind of pylon rush nonsense on the other side of the map or not in the early stages. Stargate starts on up as well from DnS, so he continues to set up here. Nothing really too crazy. Don't really know why E-Laser isn't in Austin. It's very expensive to get to Austin. And E-Laser has been very focused on school recently. He's been playing StarCraft 2, but he has been doing school, so maybe he couldn't go because of school, / probably just the cost of attending Austin. Even if you hit round of 32 and get $1,000, I don't think $1,000 really helps you too much. I would say $1,000, you would probably lose money on traveling to the event. So that means you have to hit round of 16, which I'm sure E-Laser is very, you know, able to do. But if you're losing money, if you only hit round of 32, I mean, it's very possible to go out only in the round of 32 as well. You know, as someone who hasn't been maybe focusing completely on StarCraft with school going on, etc. You know, if you get a tough group, etc., it can be difficult. So yeah, he has been focused on school though, so there's been that. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those situations. Doesn't have a team to fly him out there. Again, it's just expensive to get to Austin. It's like, and especially, I guess it depends how far in advance you book, but it's still going to be pretty expensive to get a hotel for a few days and all the rest of it. You got to survive while you're out there. Yeah, it's not easy. Anyways, we should get back to this game. We see the Stargates come up from DnS. In the meantime, he also sets up the third Nexus. Nothing really, again, out of the ordinary, and pretty much just sticking very true to the playstyle which he's been playing throughout the earlier games. We see the Revelation will be thrown down on a couple of the Vikings, which will just be used here to initially kind of push back that Oracle. What's kind of interesting is that from our Terran player, we've barely really seen any aggression at all. Just kind of goes up into that factory, that starport, but doesn't, again, ever really build anything here. He built a Widow Mine. We saw the couple of Hellions, which we saw running around the base. We didn't talk about them too much, but we saw them running around. They didn't do too much damage. There's a Widow Mine at the front. Pretty passive, really, from souL. I mean, even the 2 Hellions are some of which are very easily dealt with for the most part, and more than anything, just kind of picking up scouting information, more so than kind of really dealing the damage which you might expect a Terran player to try and deal in the early stages to slow the Protoss down. And all the rest. I mean, obviously a big part of that might be the fact he's already got a 3rd CC, finished up, morphed into an orbital, and floating on over to the 3rd location, so that's a pretty big part of this as well, I would imagine, as souL does start to float that over into position. The 2 Phoenix coming over here now as well. We'll just be able to actually intercept an SCV to begin with, and we'll just get confirmation of that 3rd moving over, so nice little bit of initial info as we see the game. The 2 Vikings will be very useful here. Just keep pushing those Phoenix away, so pushing the Phoenix back. As we are going to be seeing the Twilight Council thrown down, and we're just going to be seeing the Orbital Command landing as well. Nothing crazy, I mean, again, I say nothing crazy a lot today. I need to stop saying that. Being repetitive is not good casting. Do apologize. DnS, very much so similar to what he's done previously. +1 Resonating Glaives, but isn't going to kind of delay the Robo too much. He's throwing that down now as he adds on extra gateways, and we'll probably look towards a little bit of Phoenix Adept pressure here, but probably into those that immortal production. The Robo Bay as well, of course, we've been seeing throughout the day from him, and then probably also to that Disruptor initially. I mean, again, that's just how he's been playing, and you wouldn't expect him to change things up drastically during a tournament. I mean, again, it's only Go4SC2, it's just an online cup, but if you've been practicing something, there's better times of the day to practice changing, trying out Colossus first rather than Disruptors and all of that sort of stuff, so that's kind of probably just expecting him to kind of keep things going. As you just see, 2 Medivacs coming down the left-hand side, 2 more to the right, so souL going to go for the kind of the drop-heavy playstyle. Very different to what Cass was going for. Cass not really using too many drops throughout the earlier stages of the game, maybe a bit later on, but he was really all just about building up larger armies and looking to take fights and looking to really build up like very solid positions with, for example, kind of the Liberator count kind of slowing things down and stopping a Protoss play from attacking it too much. This Widow Mine hits nicely onto the sentries, but will not go down. We'll see 2 of them going down now to the follow-up, though. 6 probes dying as well. Very successful initial drop as now 2 Medivacs towards the main. However, multiple pylons are cannon the mothership cores here as well. Unlikely to see this doing too much as not very much anti as the Phoenix are going to go wild on this army, and they are going to be able to pick up those Medivacs. So the next couple of drops do get cleaned out, and it's going to be very good pickups here for the Protoss player. Pretty much everything bar, well, even that last one, Marauder, is going to get shut down too. This drop in the natural will find a way in. Adept's coming in quickly though, and again DnS is very well spread out and dealing with this pretty well, but also in the meantime still losing a lot of work as these Widow Mines went off again, helping out on the 3rd base. As you're going to see, well, these Medivacs obviously should probably start dropping ASAP. These Adepts are just going to clean up everything. And souL maybe just trying to be a little bit too hyper-aggressive right now, as we'll be seeing one more probe. Again, shot down. 16 workers killed is nice and all, but again, DnS has really killed a lot of army for this, so it's not as though it's just 16 workers and souL gets out of there and he just takes the lead. No, he's traded his army to be able to kill these workers, and again, I don't feel DnS should be too worried about that. He can rebuild these workers pretty quickly. He already has been rebuilding them. That's why he's only 7 workers down. Obviously, mules come into play as well. But again, he shut down so many Medivacs, and that's a really huge important thing, I think. The fact he's killed the Medivacs. And so far, 4 Medivacs have died. And that just means you've got to keep on remaking those Medivacs, or when you make the Liberators, you're not going to have as many, and that's obviously beneficial for the Protoss player too. We talked about this in the last game, where Cass got to this stage where he either had to rebuild Medivacs or Liberators, and he chose Liberators, which was fine. It helped him stay alive, but it meant his bio was nowhere near as useful as it could have been if he'd been able to keep the Medivacs alive throughout the game. So that's one thing that's gone very well for DnS. The killing of the Medivacs throughout has been very successful, as we'll see. This one Marine on the right-hand tower gets lifted, gets killed. The Adept will take the Watchtower for a few moments as well. And there is that +1 armor about to finish up for souL. So 1-1 apiece. 2-2 getting ready to set up, and souL should be able to just go straight into the 2-2. He has the armory, right? I'm not too sure. We'll see that in a moment or so, because right now, a little bit of attack coming forwards, and DnS will be looking to jump on top of this right away. Widow Mines, though, lifts up a couple of them, and there's 2 Colossi in the back. but the Adept numbers are disappearing, and actually just enough bio to stim on in. I think the initial Widow Mines did a lot here, and that really helps him to just keep on trading towards the end of this. Even if he kind of has to back away now, he's cleaned out the Colossi, he's going to get rid of all the Sentries, the Stalkers. He's really going to reset the tech of DnS to a very basic level, although Phoenix are very good at chasing down and cleaning up towards the end of the fight, and that's exactly what we're seeing them start to do. Lifting up the lower health Marauders first, just to make sure, and then the rest of the Marauders getting lifted and taken down as well by these Phoenix one at a time. So souL is going to lose pretty much everything there, but DnS as well is also going to, again, have his tech reset. Colossi count is lowered, and, well, fourth base up here from souL is building. He is looking to be able to save that. Looks as though DnS didn't quite check up in this location, maybe not expecting the fourth base to be there. And that's something he could have maybe cancelled or delayed, which he hasn't done. Only +2 attack coming in from souL, no +2 armor. Doesn't quite have the gas or the money in general for it, so it's a little bit of a shame because it goes from potentially being an upgrade lead for souL to what's just going to be kind of an upgrade stalemate, 2-1 apiece in the near future. For a moment or two, DnS will be ahead on upgrades. In fact, DnS starts a second forge, so he's going to start taking a bit of a larger upgrade lead if souL doesn't do something about his own +2 armor starting in the very near future. Scan for now, though. And DnS goes up to the 4 Colossi. In the past, when we saw him hit Colossi, 4 is a number we didn't really see him reaching, as we see pylons going down, going to delay the +2 armor. Adepts will shield on top of this. Phoenix will come on through to help out, already working their way through the Liberators to try and just do something, as the Colossi in the back from DnS are doing way too much damage. Now Phoenix chase the Medivacs away, and again, it's just going to be... This is the really scary thing about Phoenix. If you don't get away from a fight having done enough or cleaned out the Phoenix, and you're trying to run, the Phoenix are probably going to stop everything else from getting away. So, a position that's, you know, if there wasn't a Phoenix in this and that fight had gone that way, souL probably escapes with another 20 supply of units. But instead, now, he loses everything again, and that's really hurting him here in these engagements, as DnS taking a couple of moments just so it takes some better fights and to set up rather nicely for himself. +3 attack starts as +2 finishes. +2 armor now starts from souL as well. +3 attack will still be ready to go, and he does have the second engineering bay to kind of get that started, but I don't think that's going to be in his sort of in his mind right now, as we're going to be seeing these Stalkers and Colossi pushing the front. Where's souL's army? Well, 2 Medivacs fly towards the main. The overcharges here are going to go down immediately, and that is a deflection. Meanwhile, a Liberator on the 4th is something, but it's not an army. There is just no real army here anymore. We're going to see a Widow Mine going off on an Adept at the front. There's another couple of Widow Mines here to help out. Phoenix coming in, seeing what they can do. I don't think there's any detection to actually help with the Widow Mines, and that is the biggest issue. This natural expansion takes a couple of shots. These Medivacs find their way in towards the third base. The Adepts will warp in and try and fight it. Some more shading over. The Warpins actually just get cleaned out instantly. Still no armor upgrade here for the Protoss player, which means that the +2 weapons is working out rather nicely and helping the Terran to kind of cleave through those Adepts rather quickly. Phoenix will again shut down both Medivacs, though. souL comes out of this with nothing left over. And still DnS moving around. That attack from the natural was nice, killed a few depots, forced the lift on the CC, but he still didn't actually really kill anything. I really thought, I mean, I guess he was just missing the detection. If he had some way to detect the Widow Mines, he might have just pushed straight on through towards the ramp and just pushed on up to see what he could get up to. As it stands, though, souL will just gather himself to the right side of the map. Liberators, Marines, Marauders, all joined up together and thinking about where they want to attack again in the next few moments. Phoenix will move on over to the right side as well. And still this army of DnS is just looking around, looking to see what's up, looking to see what it can do over the next few minutes. Marines and Marauders take down another Adapt. Going to pull over to the right-hand side a little bit more once again now, and we're going to see a Nexus dropping down on the right-hand side of this map also. So a Nexus drops on down, and we're going to see a Medivac lifting up again from souL. Just going to loop around and still look to see what it can get up to with these 2 Adepts. Very good, quickly going to get shut down here, so 2 Adepts getting popped pretty swiftly. Still this army of DnS. We'll only see a couple of Disruptors looking to maybe take the charge, take the lead. Some Liberators already setting up their sieges, as the Bio will try and pick away a Disruptor already right from the get-go. I love how patient DnS is. Not firing the Disruptors just yet, really making sure he's going to find the correct potential engagement to use that to the maximum. As you see the Marines dropping down to the far left-hand side. The Adepts still pushing forward, going to take down another couple of these Marines. We're just going to be seeing the Phoenix taking down the Medevac as well. So Medevac does fall, and now we see souL going to just go for a little bit of a base trade scenario here. He takes down this pylon. It's the second time that single pylon's gone down. As we're going to be seeing the Forge and the Robo killed at the front. So this is good damage. In the meantime, reinforcements will hit the fourth base. Good splitting up of units right now, as we see this Widowmine will hit another couple of probes. And that's very negligible compared to the rest of the situation right now. Nice target fire on the Disruptors. They go down without really killing all too much, but this army of souL is going to be cleaned out. So while he kills a lot, he's going to once again, I feel as though I've said this endless times in this game, lose everything. Absolutely everything. However, souL also going to take down the fourth base, so suddenly DnS is on very limited economy, and souL just has to survive a big counterattack with this army, rebuild a little bit, and he should be there, but it's going to be difficult because he has lost a lot. Resource lost in this game, 25k to the 19, that's a 6k resource loss difference. It's so heavily favorable to DnS, and it's just because every single time souL is losing the entirety of what he has and what he tries to get away with. Disruptor comes forward, will try and hit that turret, which helps against the Colossi a bit. He isn't going to try and break the planetary, though. He's a little bit unsure about it, as, well, I mean, souL still is on 5 bases, so DnS has to do something shortly. Looks as though he's going to bypass the planetary and instead head towards maybe the main and just look to shut down production. It's a little bit riskier. It'll buy some time for souL to mine and just build some, for example, Liberators will be very good at holding this ramp. souL once again just going to play the chase around game, as we're going to see Widowmine goes off, nothing too deadly. Meanwhile, though, the double drops to the bottom right-hand side, and again, DnS is just playing this game where he's just sort of running around after his opponent, and souL is continuing to do damage, which pushes him further and further into a lead here. Vikings now on the way up to fight Colossi. Again, souL is starting to realize here, obviously, that it's becoming a game where he just wants to kind of hold on one final attack while keeping his own eco very solid, and that's what's happening. There's only one Nexus left on the map, and that is over in the main base. That is the position DnS is in right now. To the point you've got to wonder, what's the point in even continuing to chase these units around? Would it not be better to just sort of go in and try and do the damage himself? Meanwhile, souL still just setting up these units, and I wonder where he tries to go next, because this is still a scary kind of death ball to Protoss that will be looking to do a whole bunch more. As these Phoenix come up the left-hand side, going to be sat overhead right now. Vikings, Medevacs, Marine, Marauder, all pushing down the right-hand side. A lot of these SCVs getting to work on the right-hand planetary fortress, and we're just going to be seeing the Phoenix from DnS. Going to keep on pushing on forward. Sentries here already going to get worked away against by those Marines, Marauders as well. A depth shade forwards now. And those Phoenix going to continue to work their way through those Medevacs. So damage being done. One Marauder to the far right-hand side is working its way through the Nexus as well. Again, these are depth. Looking to see if they can just catch the Bio army. And I mean, again, souL's army is starting to be caught on out, and it's starting to disappear once more. I mean, there's only really Medevacs and Vikings left. And souL, he's up so far in supply, but it's all in workers, and at the moment, workers are not going to be enough for him. Like, if he can't fight this, like, look at the unit tab. 7 Marauders, 10 Marines, but there's so many gateway units, 5 Colossi, 2 Disruptors as well. It's the Liberators that can change this, and they are starting to come up, and they are sitting in the position they need to be sat in, which is over to the side in the main base, just making sure he can protect the production. Again, souL will be, DnS will be a little bit kind of thoughtful about probably engaging into planetary fortresses at this point in the game too, so he'll be a little bit cautious of that. Let's see, coming up to the top side, DnS getting ready to make this push up here. Depot's currently lowered. Disruptor shot could fly on in, but don't think it would round the corner and do too much in time. Scan on top of the army, just assessing the situation. These units did make it back home. And again, souL's still mining off of 2 bases. I wonder if DnS, I mean, he's seen it, so he knows there's 2 bases mining, so he has to know more units are coming out here from souL. He's given souL the chance to reset his sort of position in the game. In terms of, he's given souL the chance to get an army that could fight this. Here we go, Stalker's looking forward, looking for the Liberators perhaps. I think that's one of the biggest issues right now, the fact that the Liberators don't really have an answer. What do you do against them? Link your Stalkers into the liberation zones, into the bio? Well, not really. So as long as souL plays patiently, plays calmly, and doesn't screw things up completely, he should still be pretty okay in this. Liberators still sat up in the skies as we see Stalkers, Adepts, Colossi, a few sentries as well, and a couple Disruptors all pushing around, looking to see where they want to go. There's 2 Disruptor shots, which could be deadly. Gets some of the southern peak of the Terran army there as Again, Colossi fire a few more shots and a bit more damage is done. Observer moving forwards as well, and still these stalkers from DnS looking to see if they can just do perhaps a little bit more. If you could get in here and kill a Liberator or two, that would be huge right now. Problem is, even the Viking count is increasing, and that's going to make the Colossi, the real splash damage of this army, a little bit more kind of, a little bit, it's going to disappear a little bit faster than they are, as Disruptor Shock just a little bit too far away to really do anything. We've seen some really lengthy games here today. 20 minutes in, 21 minutes into this Protoss versus Terran, and DnS still has full control of his army, but that's about all he has control of. As we even see souL is going to pull units over, pull a base over and try and land it here. So DnS will leave a couple of workers behind. Now this orbital will reposition itself too to the side, gets blocked again. He's just looking for any mining at all, really. This is nice from DnS if he could move up into the main base, but then he could get blocked in by the Liberators and he may never be able to find a way out. I think he's better off trying to find the connection, the kind of the fight towards the front, honestly. I feel as though it's his best chance. He's going to turn and fight right now. Here we go. I mean, Liberators are under heavy fire. He has to get rid of every Liberator if he wants to fight this, but units from the northern side, the flank from souL, and the Vikings are still in good numbers up in the air. Colossi full, gateway units remain against the bio, and souL will pick up the first game of this best-of-3 semi-final matchup. GG is called. And we are on honor grounds. Sorry, we're on honor grounds. Cross spawns for this PvT game 2. Let's see what's going to happen. Bottom left-hand side, the blue Terran from True Esports. It is souL. And he's up against DnS to the upper right-hand side of the map. BRB, one moment, sorry. Momentarily dying. It's okay, guys. I'm alive, just about. Again, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to hit that follow button. We're going to be live throughout the week. Tomorrow, O-Gaming 6-worker start tournament, where we start the game with 6 workers instead of 12. That will be live from 8 p.m. CEST. A little bit of a later European cast than usual. Oh my god, I just opened the window and it is like so windy. It's crazy. But yeah, that'll be live from 8 p.m. CEST. That's what we're going to be casting tomorrow, in case you're wondering. Not sure what we're casting Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday we'll have the WardiTV weekly, and then it's going to be the TickTV Penthouse Party Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So lots of action coming up over the next week. We will definitely have casts Tuesday and Wednesday as well, trust me. And then I actually think the week after we're back into Challenger League sort of ground. So that's going to be pretty intriguing as well to see how that develops, how that turns out, and all the rest of it. So we set up into this this game number 2. We've been following this probe as it scouted across the map, and it did just pick up on the fact that this is a fairly standard expansion play from the Terran player. As we see DnS doing what DnS has done best already today, which is to throw down a Stargate and to try and see how things will go. Again, his TVP, his PvT has been shaky. It's been good, but it's had its flaws. I mean, we've definitely seen weaknesses of DnS throughout the day. As we set up into this and look to see how this will go. One Reaper moves in towards the main and can start working its way through a probe. Probe does go down. And the Reaper will be chased. This time we'll get killed off by the event. Man, my ears are getting destroyed by my headset today. I don't know what it is. Obviously today is the day of having sensitive ears or something. It's a bit strange. Anyways, we continue to set up into this, and I mean, cross spawn honor grounds. I mean, we'll talk about the map a little bit. What a massive map! And to hit cross spawns as well. I mean, we just saw in the last game, the game going quite lengthy on Belshire. Honor grounds could give us a really lengthy game as well, so very intrigued about this. It could also end sooner too, because of the sense that it's easier to kind of get around your opponent. Drops could be more deadly. Be interesting to see how it plays out as we set up into these initial stages. DnS going a long way around with this Oracle. He knows his opponent is not in the top left, but really wants to fly all the way around to kind of get to this. I don't know why. I don't know what he's aiming for. Phoenix production will start up though. As we're going to be seeing the gateway is finishing up, moving into a warp gate 2 more refineries starting to build as well from our Terran players. He just goes into the double tech lab. Probably look to swap the racks onto those tech labs, and then he can build reactors with the factory and the starport, go into that sort of Widow Mine based composition, which is seen so frequently. Oracle finds his way all the way over towards the natural, but there's actually a Viking here, so while he picks up 2 kills, he's going to be forced away rather swiftly, and we'll throw down a nice revelation actually before he gets out of there, keeping a good track of those initial Marines, just in case there's just in case there's like a medevac out. He can see that maybe a little bit. So it's good info out of DnS, as we do see the Twilight Council and the Forge dropping now in the main base. I mean, we've talked about a lot of his PvTs in a row now. This is the 5th map of PvT from DnS we've cast in a row, and well, we know that he's going to go do this. We know what he does. We know what his style is. We know what he sets up in towards. So, no real questions about that. It's just a matter of how does he, how does it play out for him this time. More intrigued as to how souL approaches it, because it feels as though for DnS he's doing the same sort of thing. Whereas it's about it mostly seems to be about the Terran play and how they try to play and how they set up to kind of play against it in general. Let's see, this Viking just going to lift up into the skies, and we'll be starting to work its way through that Oracle. So Oracle taking a little bit of damage here. Viking able to push that back nice and swiftly. Again, Oracle doesn't die, stays alive, and can be used throughout the rest of the game, but knowing that it's been pushed away a couple of moments ago, it just gives you that little bit of extra safety. Keeps it pinned back a little while longer, gives it less of a chance to just suddenly fly in, hit a mineral line, and do a bit more damage out of nowhere. In the meantime, DnS, third Nexus comes down, finishes up. Extra gateways as well. Still 6 minutes in, and we're just seeing everything going full steam ahead towards exactly, again, as we've been seeing it in the previous few games. And from souL too, I mean, nothing really too crazy from him as his first 2 medevacs pop out. He'd probably wait for 2 more, but then go with kind of stim and combat. His 2 extra ones could fly across the map behind the rest of this army. I mean, they will have boosts, so I just pick up a few extra reinforcements and boost across. Try and get a little bit something extra done as this Viking, again, pushing the Oracle away, knows where the Oracle is, so can kind of avoid, given the kind of vision of DnS, can kind of keep DnS away from sight in this army, which is nice. And SCV going to come over here too. You can see what the plan is from souL, to set up a position where he's going to be able to have the Oracle runs into the army, and that will be a revelation. So now souL is sighted. But yeah, the idea is souL wants to take this high ground and use it as somewhere he can pull back towards, so that he has that turret, which is always going to be some constant damage output onto Phoenix, etc. So here we go. Widowmine's just going to keep on burrowing, and we'll see the Adepts just going to keep on pushing forward. So Widowmine going to burrow once again, and we're going to see what's going on. Widowmine's going up. Nice splash onto the initial Adepts, and again. And souL's initial fight here is going very well for himself, even though he doesn't have a +1 upgrade. Mothership Core dies. Very good fight so far from souL. In the meantime, 3rd CC begins to build. More medevacs on the way. We talked about the other 2 coming across, which they have already done. 2 more probably popping out shortly. We've actually seen very recently Bjorn playing very aggressive playstyles against Protoss players as well, where he plays kind of consistent, kind of big 2-base attacks, and it starts to look very similar to this right now. Just pushing the front and continue to push the front. And I imagine he will be... I guess the difference would be that after 4 medevacs, Bjorn would start to build Liberators, and that's not something we're seeing from souL. He just keeps on making those medevacs. The Devs looking to push on towards Waddington again, and souL will just be forced to lift up here and back away. Those of the mines are going to get cleaned out as well. The missile turrets also going down. Solid hold from DnS, and again, the aggression out of souL does just not work out for him. He's not able to do too much about it, and we're just going to be seeing Phoenix continue to push on forwards. We're just going to be seeing Marines and Rows continue to get lifted up into the skies, and well, medevacs don't go down just yet, but the Adepts are chasing, and the Phoenix will not be far behind. They want those medevac kills. More medevacs coming in. Reinforcements are going to be here. Adepts do shade. Maybe a little bit too much fire right now, and Oracle not quite in position to throw down a revelation. Is the Oracle still alive even? It is indeed. Where exactly is it? It's just off here to the top of the 3rd. So again, Adepts still just pressuring around the map, seeing what else is going on. Units already lifting up into some medevacs, and again going to boost their way up to the top side of the map. Meanwhile, Phoenix are going to start pulling back towards the upper right hand side, look to see where they want to go. The Adepts are still moving around from DnS as well, and I see another couple of sentries warping on in. More Adepts warping in too, and this big drop from souL into the back of the main wall. An overcharge instantly will kill off an empty medevac. I mean, that pylon will not last too long, but the medevacs are going to start disappearing pretty quickly. But a lot of Marines, so actually the Phoenix will get pushed away. Another overcharge will also see the pylon just going down very swiftly indeed. problem for souL is he doesn't really have a follow-up to this, apart from kind of boosting out with these medevacs through the Phoenix. And that's obviously not something that's going to be too pretty. He's going to lose one medevac, but Phoenix inside. Wow, he doesn't lose anything. Somehow manages to get out of there with those units. Now he'll just collect this army together towards the front. Adept's well out of position. Obviously the Mothership Core 2, as it was dropping down, overcharges over towards the third. He kills an assimilator, and that will be that. He'll just back away, and he'll be done for now with this attack. But man, it was very well played by souL. The fact he got out of there with those medevacs and then was able to kind of turn it into an attack on the third base for a moment or two. Very cool kind of little rotation of units, I suppose, as we see the scan dropping down. And again, keeping track of this army. Another Widowmine will burrow. Phoenix comes in, lifts it up. Widowmine drops. Still, these Phoenix looking to see what they can connect on. Nice revelation hits the Marines and Marauders once again. I think it's just, again, nice just keeping track of where those units are at any point in time. And again, 2 more Widowmines are going to come up to the upper right-hand side of the map. Medevac's going to boost forwards. Not sure what they're trying to do there, but the Phoenix... Maybe try to bait the Phoenix forwards, making him think that he was trying to Doom Drop, then he backs away, so the Phoenix chase, then he runs in with, like, the bio. Possible. Oh, the Widowmine's actually going to go off on the Adepts before they approach the bio. Now they go off on everything. I think that's bad for souL. He boosts the Medevacs away, and yes, DnS is going to clean up rather convincingly. To the right-hand side, there are some units to hit the fourth. Nothing really in position to protect against these, so 3 probes go down. The pylon will also drop, so no reinforcements to be warped in. The depths are shading over, and souL knows his time, and he knows he doesn't have long in this game to kind of, or long in that position to kind of stick around and do much further. So he backs off as Phoenix still flying around. These Widowmines left over here. And souL has a 4th base of his own starting to establish. DnS will begin to saturate his own 4th base now after his attention was pulled towards it slightly. These Adepts, time after time, just keep jumping on top of that Terran army, and every single time so far we've seen it happen, it's just been too good a situation for DnS, and souL just hasn't really found successful engagements in this game. Now he goes into Liberator range, but I wonder if the Liberators are just something he's switching into way too late now. I mean, if he'd gone Liberators way earlier and not thrown away as many Medevacs during engagements, or by dropping, etc., maybe this would have been a better way to play, because it has been what we've seen a lot of players heading towards so far, and what we've seen a lot of players trying to set up into. So it's interesting. As going to see these Phoenix. Going to pick up 1 Widowmine, 2 Widowmine, and a 3rd one as well, most likely, in the next couple of moments. There we go. All 3 Widowmines getting cleaned on out. Scan comes down, and have a little lift right there. Another scan, and again, just looking to see what is going on as these bio units. Actually, sorry, Widowmine's going to drop in towards the 4th, and DnS pulls his probes away, but they're still a little bit stacked to the end. Doesn't do too much damage overall. Widowmine that's not being set up is actually cleaned up by the Disruptor. There's 1 left in this mineral line. I wonder if DnS knows that there's 1 that hasn't been set off already. Looks though he does. Doesn't send those probes back in. I mean, it's a scary little kind of thing to think about, because if you don't know, it could be deadly. Revelation comes down, and so DnS, he sees it, and he moves forwards, and just 1 probe will be taken down right there. Another Medevac unit continuing to kind of push in towards the right side of the map. Oh, Widowmine comes off cooldown and gets a few extra probes. That's nice, and in the meantime, these Liberators still pushing forwards from this top side, really playing the very positional game at the moment. Disruptor, move forwards, try and do just a little bit. Adept's going to keep on chasing forwards as well. A few more from the back, and here we go. Bio units, I feel, are going to crush through the initial wave of Adepts here. Liberator still sieged up, dealing with the Stalkers in the meantime, but the Colossi begin to connect. And yeah, the initial Adepts do actually go down pretty quick. Problem is, there's, well, first of all, upgrades. 2-2 for DnS against 1-1 of souL. And then there's just too much kind of a follow-up as well. I mean, the fact that there's 4 Colossi in this army and there's no Vikings is obviously a pretty big deal as well. And so pushing across the map now, DnS looks as though he's got game 2 in the bag, and so we're looking towards a game number 3 in this best of 3 semi-final matchup. Remember, the winner of this series plays E-Laser in today's grand finals, and it has been a lengthy Go4SC2. The best of 5 final still yet to come. We'll see Colossi going to take down Tech Lab, and Harax and the CC going to keep on taking a few more shots of damage here. As we'll see, Harax will indeed just get blown up by those Colossus lasers. Still looking around, and starting to move forwards now. Stalker's blinking in. We'll start to get rid of those Liberators. Liberators begin to disappear. No Disruptor shot goes off very nicely, and that should just be about game. DnS takes game number 2. We are tied on up 1 apiece in this best of 3 series. DnS game 3, and we are going to kick it off to the bottom right-hand side of the map. A blue Terran player from his True Esports. You might notice there's no racks in his main. You might notice an oddly blue-coloured square to the top left side of your screens as this proxy play comes in. souL to the bottom right of the map. Going to do what Cass did here on Abyssal Reef in the quarterfinals, as to the top left. We do have the Red Protoss player from currently no team at all, currently teamless. It is DnS here in game number 3. And he is not going to probe scout until the Nexus. So this is interesting because he did probe scout. I think he probe scouted earlier against Cass, right? He probe scouted earlier against Cass when Cass proxy. It wasn't on Abyssal actually, sorry. It was on Belshir Vestige. For some reason I have the vision of something being proxied on Abyssal. Maybe it was from a game I cast the other day. Anyways, it is going to be this Reaper on the way up. Factory will probably build at home. It's only one gas actually. Going to throw the bunker down as well. So let's see how this does end up rolling. souL for the fast Reaper, of course, will jump into the main mineral line and start to try and pick up some damages. DnS going to throw down a proxy pylon as well to the right side of the map. But I think that plan is going to get somewhat disrupted by the initial Reaper into marine production. There is indeed that factory coming up back at home. Initial grenade is very good. Very now he actually ends up getting his Reaper surrounded though. Has to be a little bit cautious of that. Does pick up one probe kill and we'll just be trying to find a little bit more damage over the next few moments. We'll find the second probe kill. Not just yet! Wow. Has to be careful as well because obviously if you get surrounded, it's goodbye Reaper. And he just managed to dodge back out right there. So good play so far. Good control of the Reaper as he looks for more kills. The more kills he gets now, the better position he finds himself in. Only 2. But that's not too bad as the first Marine is in the bunker, as is the Reaper in a moment or so. And there is that Stargate starting to build. But Cyclone at home, I guess one of the big questions is, does the Cyclone kind of... is the Cyclone the be-all and end-all, I guess, in a way. It's a bit of a weird one as we see... Oh, this Reaper gets surrounded, man. So many low-health probes that were just one shot or so away from death. Unfortunately, I couldn't pick up on either of those. Does the Cyclone come across the map and try and be a hero and to help push and take down this Nexus? Does the Cyclone stay at home to defend against something like an Oracle or something like that in the next few moments? So I guess we will see here very soon. Oracle on the way out. Cyclone is sticking at home. Funny thing about an Oracle nowadays, though, is that an Oracle is not necessarily the be-all and end-all. Sorry, a Cyclone is not necessarily the be-all and end-all of an Oracle because it doesn't necessarily do enough damage to realistically save the day. Nice little save of the SCV, by the way, as he wants to be able to get rid of this Adept. Pylon's building on either side. Marine's trying to get rid of the Adept so the SCV can finish building another bunker. Obviously, the idea is with a double bunker, you're going to be able to survive a little bit longer against the overcharge, but the SCV does go down, and it's going to be goodbye to this bunker as well. These Marines also going to get picked off as the Oracle gets locked onto double Cyclone, doing its job for now, pushing that first Oracle away. Second Oracle on the way out. Another Cyclone building. Again, this was not a starport being built at all here by souL, so he does just have a pretty fast CC that was building, but is now delayed. An interesting set of aggressions. Also going to see a third CC building up in the main base. Obviously still very confident he can stay alive in this as he starts to build his starport. I'm just going to be seeing the Cyclones again locking on. The Oracle getting pushed away through the south side. The other Oracle going to be coming down the right hand side of the map and just continue to try and do a little bit more. And this time he will catch the Cyclones out of position. 4 or 5 worker kills. It's nice. Triple Cyclone locks on. I mean, he sees the still Cyclones building. He also sees the third CC, which is great information for DnS at this point of the game. Great to know about, great to see. You'll be very happy with that so far, I think, as again, Oracle just coming up the right-hand side and excellent setup, getting ready to go. These 2 gateways going to be finishing very shortly too, and again, just looking to see what sort of happens next. 2 Oracles, I guess, will try and gather themselves together in the next few moments. Going to actually run on in towards this mineral line, and obviously the Cyclone locking on pushes that Oracle away to the left side, so 2 Oracles just going to sit down to the south, and yeah, in the meantime, again, 2 more barracks building. We're going to see again the Liberator still on the way out, and this Void Ray 2 is just going to pop out and go back home. A little bit of added safety, kind of drop defense as well. All sort of possible with this Void Ray added into the sort of composition as Oracles, man, just finding so much damage. 2 more workers, delays the engineering bay. souL's lost a lot to these Oracles. Like, he really has. Cyclone's going across the map to be aggressive. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Thank you very much, by the way, Yakes, for the 16-month resub coming through into the chat. I'm loving the chat's long resub coming on in right there. Thank you very much for the 16 months, as we will just see that pylon getting taking a few shots. So pylon takes a few shots of damage, and again, those probes going to come back into the mineral line once again. So a little bit of mine time lost. We'll move towards the third base, and actually, it's kind of difficult to see this kind of gateway units being able to clean this up. Does remember this widow mine as well, by the way, which is very nicely done. Sentry's being targeted down initially. It's expensive losses. We see the medevac micro will begin. One cyclone here will be lost. Okay, so souL does something to get back in. He doesn't cancel the third base or anything, but kills a pylon, kills some units, and that's all nice as the revelation drops down to clean that widow mine in the back as well. I mean, DnS holds on, he cleans up, but again, loses maybe a bit of the advantage he created for himself with that Oracle play. So a nice little kind of back and forth between the players. We see Twilight Forge on the way from DnS. He hasn't built any Phoenix, and I mean, his Stargate is out on the map, so whether he will build any Phoenix is obviously an interesting question. Most likely no, which makes me wonder if we once again see the Resonating Glaives on the Twilight, or whether he's going to be going for the Blink upgrade instead. So we shall see that in the next few moments as the two Oracles coming through the south side. We'll be looking to try and get a bit more damage done as well. As we see the probes going down. What was that? Just the Cyclones coming back in. Void Ray pops prismatic alignment, but unfortunately still doesn't quite have the damage to take down this medevac in the next couple of, or in those few moments. Refinery's finished, and again, still just a Viking from souL to the left-hand side, and a little bit of a look to see what's up and what's going on. 2 Cyclones do return home, and all of those units in red health. Nice to see them all making it home alive. Means that you can repair them up and pretty much just get the effectiveness out of those units once again. Oracles come in though, and they take the opportunity to get rid of another 3 workers, and again, it just adds up throughout the game. This worker damage, 14 to 11 so far. It's actually, I guess I kind of forgot how much souL has done in this game. As the Viking now might be the reason these Oracles do start to die. One Oracle, super low health, tries to cut across into the main to escape. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough, as the Oracle will make it back towards the third base. SCVs pull away. Now Oracle going to head back up towards the upper side of the map. We're just going to stick around in the center here for a few moments, I suppose, but then we'll be heading up towards the upper left sooner rather than later. Robot facility finishes for DnS right now as well. Another cannon, another pylon will be about to come on down. So setting that up, and there's the stim pack upgrade starting up too, about 10 seconds away from finishing. So you know what really triggers me actually? The fact that the upgrades on the right hand side of your screen are still shown in old seconds rather than the current seconds. It's really dumb. I don't know how they didn't ever update this with this extension mod. It's like, you would have thought it would have been something they changed so early on in Legacy of the Void, and it's still not correct. And so few people ever realize it, because I mean it doesn't make that big of a difference, but it's still a little bit annoying if you want to be a pedantic like me. Pylons continue to drop on down here then from DnS, as we will see these Marines picking off a probe over there. This probe doesn't get taken down. This pylon will cancel as well. Resonating Glaives on the way up on the Twilight. So we did see that blink rather than the Resonating Glaives to begin with, which I think was expected when you don't see the Phoenix coming out. A lone Marine has found the pylon to the right hand side, powering the Stargate. Not really much of a big deal. I don't think that Stargate's going to be used at any other point in this game. If he wants to use something, if he wants Stargate production, he's going to build it back at home with, new Stargates at this sort of stage, basically. Prism is found by the Cyclones, but is able to escape. In the meantime, the Adepts, though, are stranded, and they will get taken down almost instantly. The Terran units very easily finding those, cleaning them out. No problem at all, as we see players continue to move on forwards here. 1-1 upgrades will be finishing up shortly. Both players with a pretty similarly timed kind of upgrades there, so that's nice, of course. Means that there's no player for an immediate advantage in that regard. So Oracle could find some damage in the third base mineral line. Currently just looking to hit Revelations. I mean, the third base mineral line is so unprotected. Could be a good few SCV kills, but again, doesn't find the opportunity, doesn't see that chance. Which is a little bit of a shame, as we're going to see Marines stimming forward. There's a mineral line, which is again completely exposed. 3, 4, 5 workers instantly dropping. And it is souL who's finding a good amount of damage with this drop, as he will be pushed away. Blinking forwards with the Stalkers will be trying to chase that medevac away. And we'll continue to move on forwards. We'll get the medevac kill in the end. But in the meantime, souL is pushing forwards, and he is going to be able to siege up and liberate in a bit of a weird position. Tanks here too will want to start sieging. There's a lot of tanks from souL. These Adepts don't think they're going to commit. He already forced the stim, which is really nice. And it's going to drain a little bit of that medevac energy. More tanks is going to siege up on the low ground. We're going to be seeing a few Adepts is going to get hit by the tanks. Adepts continue to move down the ramp, and another stim preemptively ready for this engagement. This time it will happen. It's a nice spread from the Terran play to minimize friendly fire. But look at the amount of Protoss that's coming on through here. Is it enough as reinforcements actually arrive for souL? DnS runs back up the ramp. And in the meantime, he's losing probes on his fourth base. souL, again, is all over the place with the drops and is continuing to attack here, there, and everywhere. Stalker's blinked in the low ground. That's a mistake, as the first two Colossi will join the fray, but is it enough to turn things around? This fourth base is going to be under further fire as the main army now from our Terran player comes into position to start fighting here. Stims forwards, one Colossus drops instantly. The force fields do nothing more but keep the Terran at bay, which is fine. It doesn't split them in half. It doesn't stop souL from retreating. And even those latter force fields are still not quite going to get the job done. Still these units from DnS sat just out the front of the third base, but souL, really great pressure here, really great positioning, and really just making this game his own. With his own fourth base finishing, morphing into a planetary right now, he just continues to control the map. He is a little bit low on some medevac energy. You can see Liberators sieging up again, another stim. Let's be careful with these, especially with the medevac energy being so low at the moment. Tank will siege up as well, and just going to start firing away onto that pylon as Disruptor moves forward. Doesn't do too much just yet. More units from souL continue to push up through the center, and there's a larger stim forwards. Disruptor goes down almost instantly there. Overcharge gets popped. And this tank's still firing away whenever possible. MSC now going down. We'll have to rebuild that, and at this point, DnS doesn't really want to spend money rebuilding the mothership core when he could be rebuilding other kind of units. One Marine goes down to the Disruptor, but that will be all. Yes, the Marines will go down very shortly too, but again, souL continue to pressure into this position. Another pylon going down, and again this position is really frustrating for the Protoss to deal with. It's a heavy siege with a couple of tanks, the Liberators too, and more Liberators arrive, and it's not really getting any better. The Disruptor will try to find something. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be anything at all. DnS is going to be falling behind on upgrades too. 2-2 halfway done for our Cross players, our Terran players. Uh-oh. It's a bit of a weird position too from our Terran because he didn't really want to stim up this choke point. But he did go for it momentarily. He pulls back now as we're going to see him able to get up a little bit of a wider choke. Voidwing getting rid of a Liberator in the sky. Disruptor starting to go down alongside Colossi. It's again souL who gets further and further ahead in terms of the supply right now. Another Disruptor shot will grab just one of those Widow Mines. And again, the rest of this fire from souL just sat down on low ground. Adept shade forwards, and well, here we go. Let's see how this is going to go. Marines and Marauders split. Won't happen though. Won't be enough. Still see those tanks firing away, man. Really just shelling their way through those pylons. Picks off a Widow Mine there as well. What else is happening at the left-hand side? This Nexus is being targeted down, so Nexus is about to drop, will be cancelled. Big looking forwards from the Stalkers and a few Marauders going down, but again, it doesn't really matter because souL is in a position where he's keeping his opponent off of a fourth base, continuing to expand his fifth base, coming up as well. Another Disruptor shot comes forwards, comes down the ramp, doesn't connect on anything. Two more sentries walking in just the side of the natural and still setting up into this, and we're going to see what else is going down. These tank shots are huge at the moment, shelling away on so much of this army at no real cost of his own. And again, how much have these tanks really done? 4 kills? That's quite a huge amount, considering on top of that they've done so much damage throughout the last few moments. A big army to the left side. Again, the fourth base disappears, and I mean souL can just pull this around to kind of gather everything together. He sees the entire army to the left. That's his chance to go up into the natural if he wants to, and I think that's exactly what he'll do. Set the Liberators up behind him. Only has to send a few units up to the natural, or you can send everything, and now he's going to be forcing DnS to come into this position. An even worse position than before, because now he has to run through a really tight choke point with Liberators in it, and that's obviously not pretty at all. Tanks get rid of the Disruptor, which does fire onto them, and well, here we go. Disruptors will try, Depths will try to shade on forwards. Let's see how it goes. They will commit. There's no real choice, of course. He has to commit to this. But with 2-2 upgrades against just 2-1, with the Liberators in a good position, the G is called, and souL goes through to the finals of Go4SC2, where he will play